Hello, everyone. My name is Oscar Subaratz. I'm the president of College Prospects of America. Thank you for being in today's webinar. We're going to touch some really exciting topics today about how to getting recruited, coming to the United States to study and compete. So, what we're going to talk about today is some of the secrets might not know about athletic scholarships in the United States. And I really want to dig deep today into, just basically the traditional methods that most families use to come to the United States. And we're gonna dig into some of these and if they work, if they don't work, some of the secrets you might not know about them. Okay. Now, what are some of these methods that I'm talking about? These methods that I'm talking about are that you can, some families, they travel to the United States to compete in a showcase or an event where college coaches may be present. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. Number two is, another traditional method that families use is they go online and they find the email of the coach and then they email the coach. So we're going to talk about, how to make that effective, if it works, if it doesn't work, how you can do it to your advantage. So we're going to talk a little bit about the secrets behind that. Number three, attending a sports academy or again, events or coming to high school in that last year or doing an exchange program, just, coming to the United States before you graduate from high school and how that can affect your process to come to America. And the fourth one we're going to talk about is acquaintances. Some of you have friends, have family members, have teammates that have come to the United States and how those can help you. So those are the several paths that traditionally most families use to get a scholarship. And so, we're going to talk about that. And when a lot of the times, what I want you to realize today is that, when you ask people how to achieve this opportunity, you can get 10 different answers to the same question. You really can. You ask 10 different people, you get 10 different answers on a lot of times the same question, because there's a lot of myths, there's a lot of barriers, there's a lot of lack of information in this process. So today I just want to be objective and help you out in navigating this process. So what's the secret? First of all, is that you have to understand the facts, okay, and myths about the process. And this is a process that it takes time. And like if you see on the screens, step 1 to step 10, and during that process, there's myths, there's barriers to coming to America. So the first thing that I want to do before I talk about those paths that we just mentioned are I want to set the base correctly for you to start this process so that you are doing the right things and setting yourself up for success and not for failure. So I just want to quickly review. If you were on our last webinar, I'm just going to quickly review some of the things that we talked about. And the reason I'm going to do this is because that basis that I need you to that mind frame that I need you to be on is very important. Okay, so the first thing I want you to realize is be realistic how much you can pay. Okay, when you focus only on a scholarship, a lot of times you look for schools that don't meet your goals, don't meet your personal values. Sometimes look for schools that you can't even afford or have no chance of competing at. And so, do a budget. How much are you really truly willing or capable of or able to spend for an education in the United States? And so take that into account and understand that to get the right school in the United States, not just a scholarship, it's going to cost you some money. It's an investment that you're making into your son or daughter's future. Don't just start this process thinking about a scholarship, because what's going to happen is a lot of the times you're going to end up at the wrong school because you're only going to be focused on the money. Okay, just very quickly, what kind of numbers am I talking about? If you're a female student athlete, you might pay 5 to 10, a little bit more, $1,000 a year once you get an opportunity, you find an offer. Men usually get financial aid, and what I mean financial aid means scholarships or academic aid. But usually, most men that come to the United States and do the process correctly, and get recruited, might pay $10,000 to $15,000 a year or a little bit more. But again, schools can be very, very expensive. And if you do this process correctly, you can end up paying these numbers. But again, it's about paying these numbers at the right school and not just thinking that an education is going to be free in the United States. You got to start the process early. This is a process that we recommend starting 2 or even 3 years before graduating high school. Very, very important. The earlier you start the process, the easier it is going to be to go through the process and to have success and get noticed by college coaches. Start as early as possible. Be aware that there's hundreds of colleges out there. Going to a college you're actually qualified for gives you the opportunity to excel academically and athletically, and not just be another number. So there's a lot of schools out there. You want to make sure that you're looking for the right schools among all these hundreds of schools that there are, and not just looking to come. So you have to find schools that meet your specific needs, and not just something that you saw on a website or something you saw in a book, or because Joe, your friend, went to that school. There's just a lot of schools, so it's about finding the right school for you. For example, this is an example that I like to put out. The size of the school is very essential. That's why I mean that the name of the school and just looking for a scholarship is not necessarily the way to go about this. You have to find the right school. And size of school is just, for example, one factor. But there's a lot of factors that you have to take in play when you're looking for a school in the United States, because the size of the school is going to make a huge difference in your college experience, and whether you get to play, whether you don't get to play, where you are. A lot of things are going to come into play with the size of school, and many other factors that you have to consider when looking for a school, not just the money, not just the scholarship. Okay. There's no path that can guarantee you a scholarship. I want to be very clear on that. No one can guarantee you a scholarship if they do run. It is completely against NCAA rules for a company or organization that guarantee you a scholarship. I don't have the scholarship. They don't have the scholarship. The only one that has the scholarship is the college coach. So be aware of that. And if anyone tries to guarantee you or make it easy, or make it sound like it's super easy and they're just guaranteeing you something that they don't have, run, because they're just telling you what you want to hear and not telling you the truth, which is that if you could be ineligible to come to the United States if you accept some sort of agreement where somebody's guaranteeing you some sort of scholarship. This is a very serious matter. So please keep it in mind. There's a lot of scams out there among this. Okay, so let's get to what we're going to talk about today. The secrets, or the paths that there are to the families traditionally use to get a scholarship in the United States or to get recruited in the United States. And so let's talk about the first one, the showcase method. And the showcase method basically says this, that as many of you know, there in the United States, many events that you can simply register and pay to be at, where there will be college coaches at that event. And so you and your parents or your team, you get on an airplane, you spend a good amount of money to fly to the United States to this event where there's going to be coaches present. You're super excited. There's a lot of energy there. There's a lot of kids. They're all hoping to get recruited. And that right there, while this method can work for some student athletes who are just real standouts, this method, it truly is the least effective for the investment required. And let me touch into that a little bit further. I'm not saying this method doesn't work. I'm not saying showcases don't work. What I'm saying is, for the investment required, okay, they can be very ineffective. Why? Because first of all, in that showcase, there's going to be 25 or 50 or more coaches, usually that are close to where that showcase is. So if you go to a showcase, let's say in Florida, you're going to get a lot of schools close to that showcase. The problem with that then is that, again, remember, we were talking about getting the right school and finding the right opportunity from hundreds of schools in the United States. So in the showcase, you're automatically limiting yourself to only those schools that are going to attend the showcase. And this is a problem because that perfect school for you may not be at that showcase. Second of all, you're very excited. There's a lot of energy, a lot of kids competing there, but you get one chance. I mean, at the end of the day, coaches are looking, and most of the time they're looking for kids that they've heard about. And so if they just happen to watch your match or your game or when you're playing at that moment, first of all, that requires luck because there's hundreds of kids. But second of all, you have to basically, make um, the perfect play at the perfect moment, at the perfect time, in the perfect game. When coach is watching, you have to have the perfect stats at that moment, or what coach is looking for at that moment. So, think about it. That's a lot of pressure involved. What if you play bad? What if you flew from all over from the other side of the world, or just from a little bit further up north, and you played bad? What if you played bad during the showcase? Or it wasn't your game. So again, in order to make this effective, you would have to travel to a lot of showcases, and parents spend a lot of money to do this. Okay, they travel to a lot of showcases, hoping to be noticed, hoping to be seen, and each one of those showcases costs a lot of money in travel, time, and investment. Okay, so again, to make it effective, you have to spend a lot of money with this method. And at the end of the day, the method's also a business for whoever's putting it on. So it's not about getting you recruited a lot of the times. It's really about getting a lot of kids to play. All right. So you're competing against hundreds of others for the attention of a few pair of eyes. Okay, let's talk about the internet method. The internet method traditionally is the way that traditionally what families first do when they're going to start this process. You've got your mom, or you've got your dad, or and you say, well, I want to go to the United States to study or to play. And naturally, what are you going to do? You're going to go on the internet, you're going to Google a couple schools, you're going to go to that website, you're going to see the coach's information on that team website, you're going to see the email, and you're going to email the coach. And while that's, again, very valid, the problem with this method is that you're probably doing the same exact thing hundreds and hundreds of other kids are doing at the same time. Think about it. You're probably going to research or email the coach of the same school, of the same schools that other kids in the world are emailing. Because if I asked you to name 10, 20, 30 schools, could you do it? Could you name me more than 50 schools in the United States? Well, the reality is that your teammate or another player or another athlete somewhere in the world knows those same 50 schools. So what happens is that you've got a lot of student athletes emailing the same 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 coaches in America, saying, hey, I want to get recruited, coach. And a lot of the emails look the same, with the same kinds of stats and a lot of YouTube videos. So what happens here is that you've got a bottleneck of same kids emailing the same coaches over and over again. Okay, and there's hundreds of schools, but you don't know where those schools are. You only know a certain amount of schools. So what ends up happening is coaches are just bombarded. They're just, they're absolutely bombarded by student athletes, and this doesn't help you. This doesn't help you because you're looking for the coach might have one spot available for 2019 or 2020, and sure, or 2021, 2022, whatever that date may be, and you are competing with a lot of people doing the same thing. So again, this method can work, but you're going to need some luck. You're going to have to be a true standout for the coach to say, wow, look at this girl, or look at this boy from all these other emails. And the other thing is, and this is the problem that I find families encounter with this method, is that they don't necessarily get the best option. Because think about it. There's hundreds of schools out there. So if you just email 20, 30, 40, 50 schools, well, what happened to the other 900 and something schools that also compete in your sport? They're never going to find out that you exist because you don't even know that they exist. So again, if we're looking to find the very best option in the United States, we're looking to find not just any school, we're looking to find the right school. So the internet method has a lot of flaws in it, and it can be very hard nowadays with so much technology and so many kids have access to information, a lot harder than you could possibly imagine to get recruited in this way. Okay. Now let's talk about the academy method. Or not just the academy method, but let's say you come to the United States for your last year of high school or a semester abroad, or if you come, to play temporary for a club team or a tennis academy, or even certain events like a certain important tennis tournaments or golf tournaments. So the thought is that if you come to the United States and you're here, the thought is that it's going to be really easy for you to get recruited. And I've asked this question many times when I speak in front of large groups, and I'll ask, who here thinks that if you go to the United States for a period of time, it will be easier for you to get recruited because you're already there. And the amount of hands that go up is amazing because it just kind of makes sense. If I go there, coaches will just find me. I'm already there. And actually the thought is it must be really easy for American kids to get recruited because they're already there. And so that's the problem with this, because it's just a complete myth that if you come here, it's going to be that much easier. It can be easier, but that doesn't mean that it's just going to happen. And let me tell you why. Because now you're competing against kids in literally 20,000 high schools in the United States. You are in incredible competition with student athletes in every state and in every high school that are also in the United States. So let's say that you had a great sports results in your country or in your province or in your region or in your city, and you had something that was really a standout profile. Now you come in and you're here in the US, but you're not now, instead of having that standout profile from somewhere else, now you're just another kid here and you're just competing at a high school. So, it can not only can your profile be hurt a little bit, but also you're just in incredible competition. And then the other reason why this can be a problem is, again, if you are a standout athlete and coaches already know that you exist and you're here, it might be easier for them to see you because you're locally. But again, it's not easier for them to discover you, which is two completely different things because there's just a lot of kids here. American kids, they need help getting recruited just like anybody else. So two things with this method. Also, if you come to the United States and you're constantly here playing tournaments, you're also giving the impression that you have a lot of resources financially. So a lot of the times it'll be more difficult for you to negotiate a good scholarship or a lower cost for that school, because coaches are going to think, and this might not be true, but they're going to think that you have a lot of financial resources. So it doesn't help you sometimes when it comes to negotiating that scholarship, because coach is going to say, well, I'm going to give that money to another kid that really needs it, that is in another country, not just someone that's here and has the ability to pay for school. So that is a big limiting factor. Okay. And so you have to be aware that a lot of coaches, when it comes to giving the money to a US kid or giving it to a foreign kid, a lot of the times they give the money to that foreign kid because they need more money to bring him in than the kid that's already here. Okay, so keep that in mind, that a lot of times the best scholarships go to student athletes that are not currently in the United States. Let's talk about the contacts method. Again, this is another traditional way that families use to come to the United States through sports. They have a friend, an acquaintance, a relative, a grandparent, an uncle, a coach, someone that has a contact with a college coach or contact with college coaches, or maybe your high school counselor is told you about is telling you that they can help you, or maybe your coach is saying, well, I've got contacts that I can help you. So those are very valid methods, and I'm not saying don't let them help you. What I'm saying, you have to be aware of the truths and the realities of this method and its flaws as well. So if you have a coach or a friend or an acquaintance or another team member or someone that's already here in the United States and they truly, truly have a personal relationship with a college coach, personal relationship, ask them to help you. Ask them to help you and to help you open that door. And the reason being is because the truth is that a lot of people say they have contacts with coaches, but they don't really have a meaningful relationship where they can say, hey, coach, I've got, Johnny and he's really interested in your school. Will you take a serious look at him? Coaches really are very evasive when it comes to stuff like that because they don't want to be doing favors to people. A coach's job is to recruit the right kid from a number of candidates and do a whole selection process and select the right student athlete for their school, not just someone that somebody said, hey, I know this kid. All right. So again, what happens with this method is it's sadly that families put a lot of trust and a lot of that basically depend on whoever told them, hey, I'm going to help you. And time goes by and time goes by and time goes by and nothing happens because again, coaches aren't looking to do favors. They're looking to recruit the right kid, and that person trying to help you may really be having their heart to help you, but they just may not have the contacts. They might not have the knowledge. They might not have the ability to really negotiate or find that school for you. So I think this is the least successful method because it often results in your contact or your friend saying, you know what, I wasn't able to do it. Coach won't answer me back. He said he could walk on the team. There's no scholarship. It really a lot of times leads to nothing. And the big loser there ends up being the family that put their trust in that help. So again, I have a saying, a lot of people say, well, I have contacts with coaches. Well, a lot of people have contacts. In America, everyone here, not everyone, but a lot of people, if they went to college or if they played at a team or, if they belong to some sort of club, they know they know some coaches at some level. It's easy to have contacts, but it's different than true relationships that can really open doors for you. So please be aware of that and don't fall into that because you can waste a lot of time just waiting for things kind of to happen. Okay, so we're getting to the end here of the different methods. Okay, and if you've noticed, I'm not saying that these methods don't work, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't try. I'm saying you should be aware that these methods are just traditional methods. You didn't make this up. There's lots of families trying it this way. Some succeed. A small percentage succeed. A lot of them fail, and a lot of them just end up saying, well, we tried to do this and it didn't happen. Well, we tried this way and it didn't occur. Well, he went with this way and we didn't get the right offer. Or we were in contact with this coach, but we were never able to come up with a full opportunity. So don't listen to just those few kids that tried these methods and achieved them. Listen to all those kids that say, I tried and it didn't work out. So what I want you to realize is that you've spent a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of investment to get to the position where you are today to have that opportunity to come to America. And you can't take this lightly. These are the best 4 years, the most important 4 years of your life. And you can't take them lightly. You can't take them lightly on a couple methods that might have worked for a couple people. Because at the end of the day, if you remember, we're not just looking for a scholarship. We're not just looking to come to America or to the United States, whichever. You're looking to get the right opportunity at the right school so you can have a great education, that you won't go home in 6 months, and that you won't get stuck in the middle of the process and say, hey, we tried. But you're going to say, we did the process and we succeeded because we took this process seriously, understanding the myths, the realities, and doing the process correctly. So some of you are on the left side of this little graph that I have here. Some of you, this is you before, or this might be you now, where you have a lot of questions, where you don't have a plan, where there's no security in you achieving this process. You have a lot of myths, there are a lot of barriers. You might not have options. You might not know how to answer coaches. Like, you simply are in a place where you want this, and you might be moving forward a little bit, but you really aren't navigating with a true security that you're going to get the right, again, opportunity in the United States, not just end up in the United States with the right school. So I hope that I would like to see all of you become the after. And some of you have already started that process, but with us, and that after is a place of security. It's a place of where you have guidance, where you have a plan, where you have options, where you have coaches communicating with you, where you understand the myths and the barriers, where where you're going to be able to come up with the right school. And how does that happen? What does that look like? Okay, what does that look like for you? For most families, it's like this. You're at step one and point number one or number two. You're just starting the process, and you're trying to move forward in the process, but you might not be moving in the process efficiently, or you may not see the light at the end of the tunnel, because you got to make it to 9 or 10. You got to make it to the end of this process and find, again, the right school. So everything that's in the middle is, myths, it's barriers, it's guidance that you might not have to do this process efficiently, correctly, and find that right school that's going to be the best 4 years of your life. And that's where we come in. We're everything that's in the middle, just helping you navigate from point 1 to point 10 in a way that not only does it make sense, but it actually gets you to your destination. So again, there's a lot of myths out there, and we just want to help you. We want to help you. So if you would like for us to help you, and you want to see what that looks like in your life, and how navigating this process correctly can change your life, get in touch with us. You can send us an email at contact@cpoaworld.com. You can go to cpoaworld.com or go to mycpoa.com. There's a lot of valuable free information on those websites where you can just register and watch some more of these webinars. But certainly get in touch with us. Tell us your story. We want to hear from you and where you are. And we can help you navigate that process from point 1 to point 10. And so that you are not that before that just has all these questions, but has that security that all this investment that you've made in your son or daughter is going to bring that reward, and that reward will be that wonderful opportunity in the United States. Thank you for listening to me today. Again, my name is Oscar Subirats. I'm the president of College Prospects of America. It's been great to be with you today, and we hope to hear from you soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.